Right, so today I'm going to be roasting a leg of lamb, just for two people, like you do. I've got some rosemary here, straight from the garden. What I want to do is strip off the, just like that, the leaves. You don't want the hard woody bits. Just basically rip off all the leaves. Same with that, okay? And what we'll do is just run a knife through there. It'll still be in the dishwasher, the other one, so we'll just use this one. We'll just chop that up a bit, try not to chuck it all over the place like I'm doing. You don't want to chop up too fine, I'm just giving it a rough chop through. Okay, that will do. I'll just chop that into a little bowl, so one side. Okay, next up, a couple of cloves of garlic. And so I've reserved some of the rosemary there. That's just going to go in the bottom of the roasting tin, and the leg of lamb will be on top of that. Next up, see this garlic's been hanging around a little while, it's started to shoot. Not a problem, but do take the green bits out the middle. So I'll just nip off a couple of cloves of garlic. Get a shot of the waste up there. Just give me a little bash like that. Not too hard, you don't want to disintegrate them completely. And what you'll find is you take the bottom off and the skins will come off dead easy, just sort of like that. Yeah. Okay, same with the other one, just take the bottom gnarly bit off, and the skin, as I say, we'll just peel off. You don't give them a little bash first. So easy that was, get off. Get that off of there. Right, now these, what I want to do is just cut them right through the middle. So those little green bits that I was talking about, just get your knife in there. Take that little core out with it. I'm making this look more difficult than it is, but only because I'm using the other knife to say it's still in the dishwasher. I normally use a smaller knife for this. Never mind. Okay. Again, take that little core out, the green bits on. The bit with the green bit on it can just taste a little bit bitter, and it's also probably responsible for the, you get the garlic breath. Okay, so that's a bit manky, that one, I'll get a shot of that. What I want to do is just cut that into little sort of slivers, sort of like that. Not too thin, because these are actually going to get inserted into the lamb. Just get a bit of flavour, just make little pockets all over the lamb. Okay. That'll do. Don't have to be too precise, too fussy. Right, next up then, what we've got. Here's our roasting tray. And our rather beautiful leg of lamb. This one's about 2 kilos. I'll just lay that on top of the rosemary. I'll give my hands a quick wash. I don't know if I mentioned the weight. It weighs about just over 2 kilos. This one was on offer. At the local supermarket, it's half price. dry it off. It's been out of the fridge for about an hour just to get it up to room temperature. And what you want to do is just like make a load of holes in the meat, like that. That's where you're going to insert the garlic and rosemary. So several little pockets like that, and that will get you a load of flavour into. Make it as deep as you like. You want to get the flavour right into the meat, basically, is the plan. Okay. That's the one that's really going in far enough with my first couple of incisions. So what you do is just pop into each of those little holes you've made. Pop in a bit of garlic. Sort of like that. Popped out again. Blah. Oh, you get the idea. Don't know why that one won't go in. In the meantime, you want your oven on to preheat. Fan oven. I'm going to whack it up on full whack initially, and then as soon as the lamb goes in, we'll turn it down to about 170 for a fan oven. That's Celsius, obviously, and 2 kilos will take about 2 hours for medium. Right, same thing with the rosemary that you've chopped up. Now just squidge a bit into each hole, best you can. Doesn't have to look pretty, but rosemary and lamb, it's just a given, isn't it? Just squidge it in, like I say, as best you can. If you want to enlarge the holes a bit to make the process easier, feel free. Okay. A little bit in each hole. What we want to do is just season the meat all over. Pepper, salt, usual stuff. Okay. Ooh, hello. I just refilled it so it's not grinding quite as smoothly as it otherwise would. Okay, so salt and pepper all over. Now what I want to do, I'm just going to pop that to one side for a second. What I want to do with the rest of the rosemary there is just sort of mash it up a bit with the garlic. So we go in. Pestle and mortar. You could use a little blender if you like, or whatever. Get some of the rosemary in there. Get the remainder of your garlic in there. Don't go over the top of the garlic. Right, bit of oil, olive oil in this case, but whatever oil you feel happy to use. Right, so I'll give that a little podge around with the other bit. You can see this one's been broken at the end, but it still works, so that's fine. Now you could add a little bit of sugar into that, or some salt, just to grind it together a bit better. In fact, I think I will put a bit of salt in there, that'll just help break it down. Sea salt, quartz crystal, and it's a bit more salt gone in there. And hopefully that will just help me grind it up into, not quite a paste, but it will just start to break down everything. Okay, sort of like that. Now what you're doing, you're sort of infusing the flavours of the rosemary and garlic into that oil. pour that right over the top. Actually, show you what I'm doing here. Over there. So pour that oil and rosemary right over the top there. Okay. And then it's time to get your hands dirty and just give it a good old rub right over the top like that. Yep. That's it. So every surface you can get to has got a covering of that oil, garlic, rosemary mix, and that's ready to go in the oven. And that will go into the oven for 2 hours approximately. That's 2 kilo joint. So 25 minutes per pound, sorry, per 500 grams, pound in old money, plus 25 minutes, and then you want to give it probably half an hour to rest when it comes out. Right, so the lamb's just gone in the oven. Like I said, it's on full whack and preheated. Once it's been in for a couple of minutes, just turn the heat down to around about 170 Faran, 180 for a normal oven. That now gives you about, you've got about 2.5 hours now to do the rest of your dinner to go with it. That leg of lamb in there would probably serve 6 people easily, 8 at a push. I'm only actually cooking for 2 people today, but we use the leftover lamb. That'll probably do us for another 2 days. So at the moment all I'm doing is just prepping the rest of the veg. Here I'm doing, I'm going to do a carrot and swede mash. That was the swede, which I just, take the outer bit off. That can just go straight into a pot of salted water. You can pretty much take your time now, unless you're cooking for like loads of people, in which case you'll be running around doing all the other stuff that goes with it. But let's chop some of that up into roughly equal pieces into your lightly salted water. Same thing with the carrot. Carrots and swede are sort of fairly similar densities. The green beans here will be steamed. What we've got here is this pot here, which will be the, and we've got a little steamer bowl that goes over the top of that, which will be where we're doing the green beans and the broccoli, which will be cut into florets. I do like my veg, so you know, 4 different veg going into this. Your carrot, your swede, your green beans and your broccoli. I'm also going to be doing Yorkshire puddings and roast potatoes for this. Now, Yorkshire puddings, everybody thinks, oh, it's just with roast beef. But my missus is from Yorkshire. She'll eat Yorkshire pudding with anything. Any roast as a definite. Sausages, onion gravy, that sort of thing. Yeah, got to be Yorkshire puddings for that. Do you know, if I was to give her beans on toast, she'd probably ask if she could have Yorkshire pudding with it. So I'll be showing you how I make my Yorkshire puddings later. I don't follow a recipe as such. Okay, so basically, you all understand how to prep veg, so I'm not going to bang on here about it all day. Some people use one of those little like scrapers to peel carrots and stuff. I just use my knife and just I don't know if you can see that, but that's as good as you're going to get with one of those little scraper things. You're just taking off the outer edge. These are supermarket bought carrots. If they were homegrown, it's the wrong time of year for that. I'm currently just coming up to the end of March in the UK, It's the coldest March we've known for quite a few years. So the growing season isn't even underway yet. Last year this time we were having a mini heat wave in March, and I'd even got my tomato plants started. It didn't last very long though, because the rest of the summer was absolute abysmal. It was just like wet, damp. Well, anyway, you get the point. Whilst your lamb's cooking, get on with the rest of the prep. So the lamb's been in the oven for about an hour. There we go. Now you look at that. Take a look at that little baby. So what I want to do is just baste it. Now I'm going to cheat and use this is what they call a turkey base. You have to be a bit careful with these little babies. Hello. And just this is not working as well as I'd hoped. For some reason it's not picking it up. I see there's not a great deal of fat going on, but we'll just give it a little baste anyway. Just in an attempt to keep it moist. Oh well, you see the way that just slid over there. Brilliant, really. You couldn't make it up, did you? Slide that back over there. I tell you what, there's so little oil, so little fat coming off that meat. So I'm just going to drizzle over a bit more oil, like that. Just to give it a bit of, nearly got that there. That would have been a disaster. And then that can go back into the oven for the second hour. So next up we're going to prepare the Yorkshire pudding batter. I've got a balloon whisk here. Eggs. Now I'm only doing a couple of small Yorkshire puddings, so I'm just going to use one sort of fairly large egg. Got a little bit of shell in there, but it ain't going to make any difference. So what I want to do is just break that up. Take some plain flour. Very important to use plain flour, not self-raising. Use self-raising, you'll end up with something that resembles a cake as opposed to Yorkshire pudding. You want to try and get this done preferably a good half an hour before you want the batter mix to go in the oven. So what I'm going to do is just add some flour into there. Now the actual amount of flour to egg it's not an exact science. Eggs vary a little bit in size. Now you can see how that's just like completely come together. So there's probably just a little bit too much flour in there, but it's not going to make a great deal of difference to the final outcome. You can see how that's sort of that's just about where you want it actually. You want it so that you can't actually whisk any more flour into the egg. Okay, so to that we're going to just add a little bit of seasoning, again a little bit of pepper. Okay. And obviously some salt. There's no raising agent going to be used here at all. And into that you want a little bit of milk. Some people will swear by, you know, their granny's old recipe or whatever. I just find this works for me. And all the quantities are guesstimated. and just bring that together and see how it looks. It looks like a complete lump at the moment. Okay, but you bring that together and it will eventually make a smooth batter. Right, so here's where we add the secret ingredient. It's not going to be so secret in a moment because all it is, I'm going to have used semi-skimmed milk there. You can use full fat milk. Okay, what I want to do with that is just add a tiny little splash of cold water. I don't know if you can see how little cold water's gone in there. Give it a good old whisk up. Like that. And then what you're looking for is these bubbles that just hold on the surface. So there should be just enough flour and egg to bind that, so that when you try to pop them with the edge of the whisk, they don't quite pop. They'll divide, but they won't pop. So once you've got it at that stage, you want to leave that a good half hour. You could pop it in the fridge for half an hour. You want to now put your tin into the oven so that the fat's got hot enough that you're ready to go. In the meantime, there's some chicken stock which I've just defrosted, basically, defrozen. I freeze my own chicken stock. Okay, we're doing roast lamb today, but I didn't have any lamb stock. I freeze it in little ice cube bags, just take it out, pop it in the microwave and defrost it. With that now, that batter just needs to rest. Right, so the next thing on the list is to prep the potatoes for roasting. Now you've probably seen people telling you that you have to parboil your potatoes and then into hot fat. I've already got the little tray in the oven with oil in it getting hot. What I'm going to do with these is cut them up into sort of sensible roasting size pieces. And I'm actually going to start them off in a deep fat fryer. In a deep fat fryer, it's been preheated to around about 130, so quite cool, and they'll go in there for about 5 minutes just to start them off before going into the oven in the preheated oil at about 170. I'm sure you don't need me to show you how to peel potatoes, but I'm going to anyway. There's a few little eyes on that one, so just take those off. Any little grubby bits like that take off. These are obviously sort of supermarket prepared potatoes. You can tell that because they're not covered in mud. So we'll just peel those off. The little bin at the back here, by the way, this all gets, if you're wondering where I'm chucking all the potato peelings and stuff, all of the rubbish that goes in that bin gets put out once a week. Council come around, take it away, and they turn it into compost, apparently. It's something to do with saving all the landfill sites. I don't know whether they actually turn that into compost or not. They've certainly never brought me any compost bags back. Perhaps I should ask them for one. Right, so there's the spuds. They're just about ready to go into the fat fryer here. Like I say, it's only on at about 130, so it's not too hot. It's just to get them started. As you can hear, they barely started frying there. If you put them on too hot, then they'll go too crispy on the outside. before they've had a chance to cook. So I'll leave them in there for about 5 minutes on that low 130 heat, and then they'll be ready to put in the oven. Right, so if you can hear that bleeping going on, that was the timer I set for the lamb. She now needs to come out and rest. Let me just switch that off because it's annoying the hell out of me. I don't know about you guys. So the lamb comes out. That is done. What I want to do now, we've got the Yorkshire pudding tin here. You see, I've only used 2 of the 4. There's only 2 of us eating tonight. So there's about a teaspoon of oil in each. I want to get that in there and get that preheated. In the meantime, the potatoes, which are over there. Am I going to do this without getting in the way of the camera? I'm not. Okay, so what we want to do is just take that over here. So the potatoes have just been cooked at about 130 for about 5 minutes. We're just going to pop them into that hot oil. Okay, and then into the oven. Yeah, out. I just spilt a load of hot oil all over the floor. I'll clear that in a minute. The lamb, now, what I want to do is get some foil over the top of that. Okay, and we'll leave this to rest for about half an hour. So there you go. There's your foil. I'll over the top of that. And then what? Dogs sliding all over the place. I've got oil all over the bloody floor, mate. Tell you. What a nightmare. Right, we're just going to put a little towel over the top of that. I'll just leave that to rest for about half an hour. In the meantime, the veggie at the back I've better switch on, because that'll take about 40 minutes, and then we're going to make the gravy. Back in a second. Right, I don't know what happened there. Right, so what I've got here is a little bit of I've got some red currant sauce which I just popped in there with some red wine, which I'm just going to reduce down a little bit before adding some stock, homemade stock. Some people do mint sauce for lamb, but if you go in the garlic rosemary route, I just prefer personally to go with the sweetness of the red currants. Right, so the next thing we want to do is get the Yorkshire puddings in. The oil's been heated up a little bit. You may remember this from earlier. It's been rested, so we've just given it a little whisk up. Just make sure you're popping them in the right. That probably wasn't quite hot enough. Okay, but that'll probably do. And then straight back in the oven. And then do not open the oven door again until they're well risen. I'll show you the end result hopefully later. Okay, they're in. Right, okay, so there's your gravy over there. Don't think the rest of it. The lamb is actually out now and is ready to be carved. And so here we go, how to carve a leg of lamb. Let's get a bit closer. This one. I'm just hoping the battery's just gone red, which is not a good sign. And I've lost the other bit of the carving. Oh, okay. The other bit of the carving process is the fork. So right, rather than try to go across that way, what we want to do with the leg of lamb is go into meat that way. Does that make sense there? Because what you can do is you can take all the meat off the bone, because the bone runs that way, so you carve it that way. I hope you didn't notice I've just dropped a bit on the floor. Okay, so my missus, who likes the well done bits of lamb, gets the bits from the outside. Yeah, I hope you're following me here. And I can just slice that as thin or as thick as I like. Genius, really. This is the wrong knife. This is not my carving knife, but never mind. But you saw what I did earlier with the and just basically just take a piece of that. Absolutely gorgeous. So no, that was absolutely gorgeous. There was only a tiny little piece of meat I had there, but it was gorgeous. I think that's a little bit overcooked, personally. I'm gonna chuck that juice there into the gravy there. Okay, so there's the juices going in there, and then if I can move that camera a little bit, what we should have yeah, that's what I knew that would happen. Is a couple of Yorkshire puddings. Oh, there you are then. There's Yorkshire puddings. They're sort of well risen.